Man, welcome back. It's the one man army, JV. Happy New Year. Wanted to say it. It's officially 2026. I appreciate everybody that made this all possible in 2025. I feel like we took a growth in the past year, and I feel like it's only continually gonna get better and it's gonna continue to grow. And I see the steady growth. So if you guys, anybody new or that hasn't been tuned in, please make sure you subscribe. Please make sure you like. Please make sure you comment. Want to make sure we take this up in 2026, and I see the vision for that. But today's episode, first episode of 2026, got a good amount of things going on. Nothing too crazy. Actually, nah, it's a decent amount. So we got Nikola Jokic knee injury, hyperextended knee. What that means for the Nuggets. We got Trae Young this whole week rumored to get moved. Is he not gonna get moved? Zaccharie Risacher, same thing. And then the Clippers 6-game winning streak. Their slow start, and now they're starting to pick things up. And yeah, we'll see what else we'll dive into, but that's pretty much the basics of the show. Right off rip, want to give a shout out to the Brody, Russell Westbrook. He just passed Oscar Robertson on the all-time scoring list. He moved up to 15th. And now, I didn't even know this. I had to double check. But he is now the all-time leading point guard in scoring. So everybody above him is not a point guard. I think he's right under Hakeem Olajuwon. So I want to say shout out to Russell Westbrook. That's a super dope achievement for him, and I'm really happy. Got to witness a really amazing career from Russell Westbrook. So that's really dope. To anytime I could give Westbrook his flowers, I want to do that. So shout out to Russ. But first thing I want to talk about today, though, Nikola Jokic, Denver Nuggets, him getting hurt. Reported by Shams, he hyperextended his knee, and he is expected to miss 4 weeks. He'll be reevaluated. And a lot of the big talking points from that injury was he is most likely going to miss the games requirement to make All-NBA, to get an MVP. We talked about it last episode. He was leading the league in rebounding and assists. We're talking about him and I said it last episode, he snatched the first place spot for the MVP. And literally after that video came out, 2 days later, he got hurt. So it's super unfortunate. And one of the biggest talking points from Jokic getting hurt and him potentially missing the MVP and the All-NBA is the 65-game rule too harsh, and should we consider lowering it? And this was the discourse around the whole league for the whole week through all of media. And my stance on that, when the rule was first implemented, I was a really big advocate for it. I really like that rule, because the goal of the rule was to prevent load management, and they tried the best they could, because we saw before this rule was implemented, we saw star players playing 60-game seasons, 55-game seasons, and still making All-NBA. So I think they had the right idea. Adam Silver and company had the right idea implementing this rule. But with the amount of injuries that happens from year to year to year, and seeing some of these guys, all-time guys, miss out on certain awards because they couldn't meet the game requirement, it's it's bittersweet, because on the one hand, you do want to see your stars out there every night. You do want to get them all to play, and it forces them to play more. But on the other hand, with all the injuries and stuff, like guys that we should be looking at on the resume and Basketball Reference 20 years from now, like this dude only got 7 All-Star games. And it's like, well, yeah, he should be like a 12-time All-Star, but he didn't meet the game requirement. This guy only got 1 MVP. Well, yeah, he should have 2, but he didn't hit the game requirement. So I guess for certain shit like that, with a guy like Jokic, it sucks because it's like he's in this all-time status, and to be argued with some of the greats, you need some of those more accolades to be in the conversation. And it's like this prevents that from happening. And some people aren't going to remember context 20 years from now. They're just going to look down the Basketball Reference and be like, oh, Jokic wasn't an all-star in this season. And he was an all-NBA. So what happened there? So I think from that aspect, it sucks. We did see, I remember, I think the first year that it happened, we saw Halliburton have the, I think it was the hamstring injury. And he tried to like come back from it pretty quick so he could qualify for All-NBA. And we just see certain things like that where he didn't play at his best for the remainder of the season. So with that being said, 65 games, is it too harsh? It just might be. So that means you can only miss 17 games in a season. And I wrote it down like this All-NBA team this season might look a little bit different because we have Wemby has already missed 12 games. So he can only miss 5 more games before he is no longer eligible. Jokic will miss at least 4 weeks, so he might not even qualify anymore. Luka's already missed 7 games, so he can only miss 10 more games. And Giannis has already missed 14 games, so he can only miss 3 more games, and that's it. So imagine if all those guys are just not in All-NBA contention anymore. We're about to see a whole different All-NBA first team potentially. So I think, is 65 too much? Yeah. I was thinking along the lines of maybe, at first I thought maybe 50 games because you're still playing more than half, but that still feels too low. But I feel like somewhere around 55 to 60 might be the area that might be the area that we would have to, or the league would have to pick. 65, it's crazy because 65 don't sound like a lot of games, but with all the injuries piling up, it sucks. It's like, it's really hard for guys to play 82 games now. And I always think that's like, if a dude plays 82 games, I'm ultimate respect. I don't know if the game is just played way differently now, where we're seeing all these lower body injuries, and you just have to be precautious when you have a calf injury, something like that. Because I remember back in the day, dudes was playing 82 every single year. Michael Jordan at 35 years old was playing 82 games. Paul Pierce got stabbed 11 times in 2001 and still played 82 games that year. And that incident happened in September of 2001. So the season started in late October, November. He still played 82 games. So it's just a different league now. So I guess for certain people, it's like 65, like that's nothing. Like these guys used to play 82 back in the day, like it was nothing at all. But I guess the only thing for me wanting to lower it is just to see these guys get their credit, like their all-star credit, their all-NBA credit. That's where I would want to lower the games played, because I do agree with the sentiment of like these guys should have to play a certain amount of games to qualify for awards and stuff like that. Incentivize them to play for the fans and stuff like that. But when guys start missing all-star games, they start missing out on awards, and some of the awards ties into the contract negotiations, and now it might mess with their money for their extension. That's where I'm kind of like, all right, we might have to consider dropping the game requirement because Jokic should most definitely rack up another All-Star on his resume, another All-NBA on his resume, another MVP on his resume. And we see the same thing with Wemby. He didn't qualify for DPOY last year. He was the runaway favorite. If he misses what, 6 more games this year, that's it. Then no more DPOY for Wemby. And I see some fans overreacting like best defensive player of our generation is never gonna get a DPOY because it's a stupid rule. And I kind of agree with them. Like I feel them on that. Like, yo, this guy is never gonna get a DPOY because the stupid game requirement. So I think for guys like getting their All-Star and all that, I think that's like that's the part where I'm like, damn, like we should lower, especially for these all-time guys where like they're still adding to the resume. So I think the right amount of games to be played would probably be like around, I would say 55 to 60. Some people say lower the amount of games played in the regular season. I don't agree with that. I think it should always be 82. If you're gonna lower it, maybe 72, but I think 82 is perfect. No more, no less. But and the second question for this, like Jokic getting hurt, would be what this now means for the Nuggets, because not only did he get hurt, but Jonas Valanciunas also got hurt, and he is the backup center for the Nuggets, and that's a tough blow because with just Jokic out, I feel like they can sort of manage, but with Valanciunas being out, that's gonna suck too. So I'm interested to see how they go about the time they play without both of those guys. I know last night they lost to the Cavaliers. But it's gonna be interesting to see. I still think they will maybe stay afloat. I would have to see their strength of schedule, but I think Jamal Murray's having the best season of his career. I think Aaron Gordon is still dealing with an injury, so that's also another tough blow. Now that I think about it, that might be tough. Maybe Houston does pass them in the standings, but as of right now, oh, this is gonna be tough. I'm looking at the remaining strength of schedule, and Denver so far has the second hardest remaining strength of schedule. Still got to play OKC 4 times, Spurs 3 times, the Pistons twice, the Rockets once, the Knicks twice. That's tough. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna have to look at their schedule and see what comes up for them, cause that is a lot. That is a tough path to have to hover over to make sure that they're good for when Jokic comes back. While I look for the schedule, there is some things with the let me find this. All right, I found their schedule. All right, so their next game is against the Nets. All right, let's see their next 10 games. They got the Nets tomorrow. That should be a dub. The Sixers. Actually, I can't even say that's a dub because it's in Brooklyn. The Nets have been playing better. They have been on like a little stretch where they've had like in the month of December, I think they had like the second best defense. So I can't even say that's a dub anymore. That actually might come down to the wire. And yeah, so it's a little bit different without Jokic. So let me calm down. They got the Nets tomorrow. They got Philly on Monday in Philly. They got the Celtics on Wednesday in Boston. Then they got the Hawks. They got the Bucks. They got the Pelicans. They got the Mavericks. Got the Wizards, the Hornets, the Lakers, the Wizards, the Bucks. All right. I'm not gonna lie, this schedule is kind of tough. I'm not gonna lie. Just off the bat, Brooklyn, going from Denver to Brooklyn, playing a game at 3:30 Eastern time. Whenever a team from the West Coast got to travel to the East and they're playing like earlier, I always expect that West team to come out a little flat. And the way that Brooklyn's been playing lately, they've been playing pretty good basketball. So I would still pick Denver to win that game, but I think it would be a little bit closer than people think. In Philly, second night of a back-to-back on the East Coast still. I would pick Philly to win that game. Then they got to go to Boston on Wednesday. I would pick Boston to win that game. Then they go back home to Atlanta. They go back home to play Atlanta. That's another game that it could go down to the wire. Then they got to play Milwaukee in their home court. If Giannis it really comes down to if Giannis is playing, that's a close game. If he's not, I think the Nuggets take that. Then they got another road stretch where they go at New Orleans. That's no joke anymore. And at Dallas, which Dallas always plays hard. Yeah, you can't really guarantee wins for the Nuggets in this upcoming stretch. I think this is going to be a stretch that I'm going to be looking at to see how they handle this stretch because they do have some good opponents. And then after the Mavericks, they got the Wizards and the Hornets back-to-back games at home. So maybe those could be their get-back games. But even then, like, the Wizards are playing pretty good ball despite their record. And the Hornets, like, I feel like none of the bottom feeding teams are just like, oh yeah, this is just gonna be a walk in the park. Like the Pelicans could give you, like the Pelicans and the Knicks just went down to the wire on Monday. So, and then I don't know. I don't think there's any team in the league where you can literally just walk in and be like, oh yeah, guarantee win. Maybe the Pacers at this point. They're on an 11-game losing streak, so it might just be them. The Wizards are on a 2-game winning streak, so there's really no team in the league right now where you could just walk into their building and just be like, yeah, we got a dub tonight. Especially when you don't got Jokic, you don't got your backup center. You're gonna have to rely on Deron Holmes, who is technically a rookie, but he's a second-year player, but he didn't play at all last season. So you're going to have to see with that. The next thing, Trae Young was in a lot of rumors about being moved. And this year, Trae Young has played 10 games. And in those 10 games, the Hawks are 2-8. And he looks really bad out there. When I was watching the game against the Knicks, he was just, I forgot he was on the court, honestly. He was just complete non-existent. I think he finished that game with like 9 points and abysmal shooting. He left Jalen Brunson open for a 3-pointer, didn't even bother trying to get back on defense. And he just looks really bad. And it's been going on since like last year where whenever he's out, the Hawks look a little bit better. And I feel like, and it was weird with the phrasing with Shams or whoever reported it, because at first it was like the Hawks are looking to move Trae Young, and then they're like, now they're not gonna move him. I feel like his value is like probably like at an all-time low right now. I don't know what you could really get for him. He's a small guard, doesn't play defense, and he's not efficient. I remember talking about it last year. Like, this dude should not be in the All-Star game just because he leads the league in assists. Because I think he was averaging like 12 assists a game at the time. And a lot of people just for that were like, oh yeah, he should be an all-star. But he was shooting like 36% from the field, 29 or 31% from three, some shit like that. It was just disgusting. And I feel like he really hurts the Hawks and what they're trying to do. Um, and I feel like they didn't really capitalize on trading him earlier. I think if they traded him like a year earlier, they probably could have got the most out of him. But now it's just like I don't even know what you get back from him. And even if you look at like all the teams around the league, like what team is really looking at Trae Young and like, yeah, he's gonna answer some of our problems. Because at this point, if you're getting Trae Young, he got to be your number two, or he got to be like a building block piece. He can't be your franchise changer, your savior at this point in time. He's just got to be, I guess, the next step. I've seen people throw the Wizards around. I guess like that could be like a stepping stone. And then if you do draft one of these top guys in this draft, and you have Trae Young to pair with him as like the second guy, I guess that's like a step in the right direction for Washington. I feel like they wouldn't really have anything to lose by doing that because they have so much young talent, and I guess just having an experienced guard there could help out because they've been needing a point guard for the longest time. I remember talking about the Magic in the summertime being a spot for him. Um, I don't I don't know. I don't think that still happens anymore because I think just the way they play with the physicality, what Jalen Suggs is able to do, even though he's not like the point guard that Trae Young is, I feel like what he's able to do defensively with that team, with their size, it goes a long way and it makes them who they are. So if you put Trae Young in that situation, that's just a liability now that you have to hide. And on top of that, with some of the shooting woes he has, that's like a double negative because sometimes the spacing is in question for the Magic. So to have Trae Young, who isn't the most efficient scorer, and him dealing with his shooting woes, and for him to be a defensive liability is like a double negative out there. So I don't. The Magic wouldn't even. I don't even think. I think the Magic would be like, yeah, we're good. I feel like the Kings would be the most obvious thing to do. That'd be like the most obvious, like Sacramento King thing ever for them to trade for Trae Young. Um, I don't know what it would do for them, but it's something I feel like they would do. Same thing with John Morant. I could see the Kings just picking up the phone like, "Yo, we'll take Ja for whatever." Um, but yeah, I don't think there's many teams really that you could put Trae Young on and be like, "All right." I mean, you want maybe Dallas, um, with the whole point guard situation, but call me crazy. I like what Ryan Nembhard is giving them. Um, I like what he's giving that team, and they already have Kyrie. They already have AD. Um, so I don't even think you could go there. Houston. But I feel like Houston is also kind of similar to the Orlando thing, just from the sense that a guy who's inefficient scoring and shooting the ball, and another guy that doesn't defend well. And I look at a guy like Reed Shepherd, who he's not better than Trae Young, and I'm not saying he's gonna be better than Trae Young, but at least that motherfucker, he shoots the shit out of the basketball. Like, if he's gonna do anything good, he's gonna shoot that basketball. And I'm confident he will shoot that shit better than Trae Young. And going back to like the draft scouting, like Reed Shepherd is a guy, despite his size, he tries on defense and he got quick and active hands. So I think the Rockets are happy with Reed Shepherd, even though he may not be the playmaker and passer that Trae Young is. I think the Rockets are good from that standpoint. And um So it's like not really many teams. I'm looking at the map right now. Um, there's not really. I mean, the Heat, maybe. Um, maybe the Heat. I guess. Um, the Suns, and this is crazy. Like, if you're a Suns fan, like, would you rather have Colin Gillespie right now, or would you rather have Trae Young? A lot of them, a lot of them might say Colin Gillespie the way he's been playing this season. So there's not really many options out there for Trae Young. The Clippers, maybe. I guess. I guess you could. I guess the Clippers could be the one, but I don't know. That whole Clipper situation is really rocky. And then a lot of stuff, a lot of reports this week was also around Trae Young's teammate, Zaccharie Risacher, and saying reports of him potentially being the key piece to an Anthony Davis trade. I know the Hawks, for whatever reason, really want Anthony Davis, and Zaccharie Risacher would be like the key piece for it. And I don't know. Atlanta's moving like a team that doesn't know what they're doing, because it's like you want to trade for Anthony Davis, and all right, you want to give up. You'd have to give up Porzingis and Risacher and whatever else. You're gonna get back Anthony Davis, who's 32 years old, who can't stay healthy. There's actually a stat. He hasn't played 5 games in a row all season. So you're gonna trade for that. And yes, he makes your defense better and stuff like that, but you can't rely on him to stay healthy. And I think that's just like a panic move for the Hawks. And then there was a report after saying, oh yeah, they're not looking to trade Risacher. So it's like they're all over the place. I don't know. I don't know if Zaccharie Risacher's heard any of this or they block it out, but I would feel some type of way where, yo, you guys are trying to trade me, and then it's like not trying to trade me. Because it feels like him and Trae Young are the ones that are looked at for being traded in Atlanta. And it sucks. Risacher is still like really young. He's only 20. He doesn't turn 21 till like April. Do I think he's gonna be a superstar? No, I never thought that of him. But I always felt like he could be a complimentary NBA player. Like I always thought he'd be like a serviceable player. Do you have to give up on that right away? Not necessarily. Maybe a change of scenery is good for him, but this is a guy that you brought in, number one pick, and you did the proper homework with all these other prospects and was like, all right, that's our guy. And I know Alex Sarr said he didn't want to be there, but this is the guy you guys did your homework on and was like, all right, this is the guy for us. And I know it must suck that he doesn't stack up to the other number one picks in the last couple of years, but that's just how the game is. And it's fucked up. I've seen a lot of people on the timeline. I haven't addressed it, but like, is Zaccharie Risacher really the worst number one pick in the last 10 years? Because you have, I don't know if we should go from 20. I guess since we're in 2026, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. We'll start in 2016. You got Ben Simmons, Markelle Fultz, DeAndre Hayden, Zion Williamson, Anthony Edwards, Cade, Paolo, Wemby, him, Cooper Flag. Yeah. He's really competing with Markelle, and that's it. Maybe. Yeah, probably. And if we're talking about just as a prospect coming out, I would 1,000% rather have Markelle Fultz than Zaccharie Risacher. Yeah, he deadass might be the worst one. Because even Ben Simmons, people want to shit on Ben Simmons, but he still was a 3-time All-Star, 2-time All NBA for that short stint. I don't know if Zaccharie Risacher will ever be All NBA. Actually, no, he never will be All NBA. All Star. I maybe one. Actually, no. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no to both. Yeah, he did as might be the worst number one pick ever. I mean, I apologize. I gassed it. The last 10 years. I saw people putting him in like Anthony Bennett conversations, and I'm like, all right, I don't think that. But in the last 10 years, yeah, it's him. It's literally him and Markel. And Markel, he got hurt because Markel went. Go back and watch Markel at Washington. Markel at Washington, he was a monster. So that's sorry, Risa. I'm sorry if I'm on your ass like this, but next thing, Clippers 6-game winning streak. They are really hooping right now, trying to get the stench off of them from the start of the season. I guess I was a year too early. Actually, no, I can't even say that because I remember last year I had the Clippers in the standings predictions. I had them at 13th, and that version that I thought they would be is the one they are this year. But I can't really say that now because now they're starting to put it together. Currently on a 6-game winning streak with wins against the Lakers, the Rockets, the Blazers, the Pistons, the Kings, the Jazz. So it's like kind of you could take some of it with a grain of salt, but they do have some impressive wins on here. Like they beat the Rockets by 20. They beat the Blazers. I think the Blazers, despite the record, or I think they're 10th right now in the standings. I think the Clippers are right under them because the Clippers are 11th. I think the Blazers are one of those teams you have to get up and play for them because that's gonna be a gritty game. Detroit, best team in the East. They beat Detroit, and they beat them by 14 points or 13 points. So that's a good win. Sacramento demolished them, and then Utah. Yeah, Utah is one of the worst teams, but I think Utah. I like what I'm seeing from Utah this year. Like I've been tuning into more Jazz games. I really love what Keontae George is doing. Really love what Laurie Markkinen is doing, and I sort of like. I'm not gonna say a big fan, but I like Bryce Sensabaugh. Like I like watching him play. But yeah, Utah is one of those teams too. Like Utah's confusing because they back-to-back games they beat the Pistons and they beat the Spurs. So it's like I'm telling you, man, the NBA, like the teams that you would think you could just go into their building and come out with a W, it's not like that. It's not like that at all. So yeah, shout out to Kawhi Leonard because in this stretch of this 6-game winning streak, he is currently averaging 39 points a game, 8.5 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals on 53, 44 shooting. He's shooting 44% from 3 on 10 attempts a game. So he's going absolutely crazy right now. And this is only what makes this even more impressive is that Zubats was out for a good amount of time, and now I think he just got announced to come back. So he should be suiting up either tonight or pretty soon. So that is a big help. Shout out to Brook Lopez. He's been holding it down for them. Their next couple games, they actually got a pretty decent couple of games. They got the Celtics tonight. They got the Warriors on Monday. They got the Knicks on Wednesday. And then they got the Nets, the Pistons. All three of those are on the road. So they got Celtics, Warriors at home, Knicks, Nets, Pistons all on the road. So pretty decent schedule. So that's what their next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games. If they could go 4-1 in that stretch, I think that's a good sign. I think the only team I think the only team they might lose to in this stretch is, I would say either Boston or the Knicks. I think those are. I think if I'm a Clippers fan, you walk out. If you walk out 4-1, you're ecstatic. 3-2, you'll take it. Like, I guess if you lose to the Celtics and the Knicks, or maybe Celtics, Pistons, Knicks, Pistons, whatever, you might be like, all right. I guess 3-2, you might feel decent. But I feel like if you could walk out of that 4-1, I think you could really. I think you'd be really, really happy with that. And with their strength of schedule, I'm looking at it now. They have the 20. They're 24th in strength of schedule, so they have a. They don't have they have a favorable schedule to end the year. So I think that's a good sign for them. If they could capitalize on this stretch coming up, I think that'd be really good for them. So yeah, New Year. I want to give my New Year's resolution for, I don't want to say every team because that's too much. I'll do it for a couple teams. I might have to throw my Knicks in there, but New Year's resolution for 5 teams. I'm just gonna pick. I think I'm gonna do 1 East, 1 West. New Year's resolution for the San Antonio Spurs. Your New Year's resolution for the Spurs, or my New Year's resolution for the Spurs will be: Can we bubble wrap Wemby and continue this minute restriction and winning into the playoffs? I like the Wemby minute restriction thing. I think that's the best approach. He actually got so lucky because in the Knicks game he did get hurt, but the MRI came back is not that serious, so I don't think he'll be missing any time. But for the Spurs, the resolution will be: Can we protect Wemby at all costs for the playoffs and continue to win? Because this team so far, they've been playing very well, even in Wemby's absence at some points in the season. Can they continue this while still holding Wemby together and just saving him for the postseason? Because, like I said last episode, the 3 guards are playing very well. I love the minutes that Luke Cornett gives this team when Wemby is not playing. Like, he was really manhandling the Knicks in that Spurs game on New Year's Eve. So, can they bubble wrap Wemby and keep him just right for the playoffs? Don't overplay him. Because they did it right the last game. He got hurt. He was still on the bench. He never came back in the game. So, just be caution. Just preserve caution with him. Next team. God damn, my stomach. Next team. The Philadelphia 76ers. My New Year's resolution: Can Nick Nurse chill out with the minutes? Tyrese Maxey is having a wonderful season, and he's still up there in minutes. Can he chill out with that and not burn him out? Because currently they're 5th in the East. I would still think, even though there's no pressure on the Sixers, I still look at them like, all right, they're not contenders, but I feel like they still have it in their mind, like, yo, they want to get to the conference finals. And maybe they could be that team. Because it feels like history has shown in this new parity era that at least one of the teams that makes the finals is not expected. Last year, nobody expected the Pacers. 2024, no one expected the Mavericks to go to the finals. 2023, no one expected the Heat to go to the finals. 2022, I guess you could say nobody I I guess you could say nobody expected the Warriors to go to the finals because the Celtics did start off that year shaky, but they did go on a crazy turnaround in that regular season. And I remember right when the playoffs were starting, there were some people that were like, "Yo, the Celtics could go to the finals," just based on that regular season turnaround. The Warriors that year, 2022, I forgot who was the first seed. Oh, Phoenix was the first seed. I think everybody had Phoenix going to the finals. Yeah, and that's when they lost to Luka. So yeah, I don't think anybody expected the Warriors to go to the finals that year. 2021, I guess maybe you could say I don't know. I don't remember if people expected Phoenix to go to the finals that year. But I know people definitely expected the Bucks to be there. And then 2020, nobody expected Miami Heat to be in the finals. So if it feels like ever since this new parity era, or just this decade in general, there's always at least one team that makes the finals that nobody expects to be there. So you just don't know from which conference is gonna be in. So can Nick Nurse chill out with the minutes? Because I know for some Sixers fans, this may be a season where it's like no expectations and shit like that. But I still look at them as a team that's like, they have Tyrese Maxey, who's one of the best playoff performers in this era. And VJ Edgecombe has looked really good this season as a rookie. Embiid has his moments, and you have to kind of preserve him as well for the postseason. Paul George has given you some things, but not the Paul George that you brought over with that contract. So can they just chill out with the minutes on Maxey, because he is going to be a driving force. He is going to be a punching ticket to go as far as you want to go. Next team, I'm gonna go with the West team. The Minnesota Timberwolves. New Year's resolution: could we get it done without a point guard? And what I mean by that is, can we maintain the level of success we've been having the last couple of seasons without having the point guard? They're another team where some people have looked at or have mentioned John Morant to the Timberwolves, LaMelo Ball to the Timberwolves, Trae Young to the Timberwolves. They are missing that point guard. They currently have Dante DiVincenzo playing point guard, and at times Anthony Edwards playing, like, they're both like switching. Can they maintain that level of success without one? And can they figure it out? Because they have had moments where they've looked really good. Like, they've had a really impressive win against OKC this season. And can they just take some of that and go on another run? Because me personally, I don't look at this season as a failure if they don't get to the conference finals again this year. I just think the way everything is set up and the roster construction and how constricted it is, it's going to be a tougher task. But there is something with this team where it's like they can make something happen. And it really rides on Anthony Edwards' shoulders. And I think what Julius Randle's been able to do this season has been really impressive and hasn't been talked about that much. So that'll be my resolution for them. Go with another East team. So this will be the fourth team. I'm gonna go with I'm just picking on the spot. I'm gonna go with the Boston Celtics. Resolution: Can we make ourselves a serious threat even without Jason Tatum? And what I mean by that is, there's been a lot of talk all year about Jason Tatum wanting to come back, him potentially coming back. But can we form this team to be a threat in the East without Jason Tatum? Like, maybe kind of preparing yourselves for Jason Tatum not to come back and this team looking like a threat in the East. Because I have respect for the Celtics. I definitely believe they can do that with the way Jaylen Brown has been playing this year. He's been phenomenal. I know he was upset that Jalen Brunson walked away with the Player of the Month. Have no comment on it because Jaylen Brown has been playing his ass off. I think he's averaging 30. He averaged 33 points a game in the month of December, and he has really proven to be like all NBA. Really should be an all-star starter this year the way he's been playing. And I think without having the hopes of Jason Tatum coming back, I think he can deliver being that driving force for this Boston Celtics team. And I think teams should kind of be afraid of this team. Derek White has been playing really well. I think they're starting to figure out with some of these young guys. A guy like Jordan Walsh, he was a guy that I was pretty high on in the 2023 draft, and he is finally starting to see those minutes come in. Hugo Gonzalez is another dude come in, very pesky defensive player. Guys like that, I feel like we haven't seen the Celtics have like young dudes like that in a while. So for them to have that on top of the play that Jaylen Brown is giving you, I think this team could really, even though they're the third seed and their whole thing is they don't have Jason Tatum, so like it's whatever. I feel like they should be treated as such, as like a team that should be in the mix to go as far as they can in the Eastern Conference. So I think they do deserve that respect. And it all starts with Jaylen Brown. He's playing at a superstar level right now. So, and they deserve that recognition. The last resolution, I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns resolution, can we sneak into that top 6? That would be my thing. Their New Year's resolution should be, let's get into the top 6 of the Western Conference. They're just right behind Minnesota. They are 20-14 currently. Minnesota's 21-13. I think they're right there. What Devin Booker's been able to do this year has been tremendous. Dylan Brooks is a culture changer, culture setter, because this team looks completely different now with him there. Really love what Colin Gillespie's been able to do for this team. He's always been an underrated guy, especially ever since the Nova days for him. So I think what they've been able to do is very, very special. And you got to give a big shout out to Jordan Ott. He was the head coach signing that from Cleveland came to the Suns, and I didn't really have any expectations of it. I was just thinking like, all right, this could be a year where they're bad, but they're playing pretty good basketball, implementing a new system. But this team has been a pretty fun watch, and it's only going to get better once. We'll see what happens, how they look when Jalen Green comes back. But if I'm the Suns, I'm thinking about getting a top 6 playoff spot as my New Year's resolution. And I think that's it. I guess, for the Knicks, obviously, New Year's resolution should be to win an NBA championship. That should be the resolution. I'm not even going to go into detail about that. But that's pretty much it. That covers everything. I'm going to end it right there. If you guys are listening on audio, please give us 5 stars. Please like. If you're watching on YouTube, please like, comment, subscribe. Follow us on TikTok at the J&J Podcast. Follow us on Instagram at the JJ Podcast 1. Appreciate you, and we'll see you next time. Peace. Yeah.